Hello. Welcome to the Viri Christi garden vlog of the week of March 16th. This is episode number 2, and here we go. As always, going to start with my tricumber, which failed into the solo cucumber over here, and as well as the dill that got transplanted recently. See, it's continuing to grow nicely. Really likes this nice sunny window it has. It's about midday right now, so you can see it's perfect window placement. Cucumber also, even though it went through so many troubles early on, it's pretty much bounced back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not too pleased with how this has been turning out right here. The past week hasn't really done a whole lot of leafy growth, but hopefully that'll fix itself out, soon. As always, to the garage for the second part. You can see maybe a little too cold, as I'd mentioned previously. This lemongrass not really coming up too much. You can see it. It's not growing very fast though. Basically just these tiny little guys sitting like that. The arugula's been doing a little, at least better than the lemongrass. Most of them, I think, have 2 true leaves to them now. This one's kind of tangled together. It's probably, I guess, trying to thin these out before they get too big, or else they're not really gonna grow very fast. You see, both of those only have 1, probably because, again, trying to grow together. This one has 1. These both have 1. This one has 2 because it's the dominant one. I have this little, still not sure what that grape is, or if it's a grape or not. Planted with these dormant grapes. If they're actually still alive or not. But that thing's alive, whatever it is. And yeah, this peppermint we have out here, it's really fanning out nicely. I like that. It's becoming much bushier than the one we'll see soon. It's inside. And we have this little guy he's coming along nice too. You can probably see much better than last week in there. Those little leaf nodes now. And then lastly, of course, all of our aloe, which is feeling good. Nice and, well, most of them at least, nice and thick. Maybe might be due for a little bit of water. Usually about every 3 weeks. It's probably been maybe 2 weeks at this point. I don't know. Maybe might wait a little longer. They can certainly handle it. They look perfectly healthy. I can feel they're not quite as bulgy as they usually are. Keep a little bit of an up close there. You can see that one, I think, has a little bit of new growth since last week started. A little tiny guy. Not that one, but this one. Yeah. Alright, making our way around inside into the main area now. Start with these zombie plants. They are mostly hanging out with 2 fern arms each. Some of them have 3. I was able to get rid of a couple of them to my sister and her kids. So freed up a little bit of space for me. We'll see where those other ones were next to the hydroponics suite. A rosemary, straggly, but might actually have a couple more leaves since last time. But again, it's long. It smells nice. I'm not super worried about the legginess of the herbs because, they might not look good, but they'll still work, I suppose. These chives, as you can see, I actually moved a lot of stuff around since last time. That'll probably happen often. In fact, next time, this will probably hopefully be a big pot of potatoes growing in there. Anywho, the chives, right? Garlic ones here. These are the regular ones actually. They're both looking really nice now. I think there's 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 garlics, 8 regular, 6 garlic. You can see like this garlic is much older than the regular chives are. It's coming up nicely. They're definitely ready to be harvested if those in my family who like onions, oniony flavor, allium want, they can come and harvest one of these tiny little ones. Well, not the tiny ones, but they're all very small. But the long, narrow ones, they're all narrow. I think if they're over like 3 inches or 4 and something like that, take them. You can trim them, from what I read, pretty close to the base, and then that will obviously encourage more growth as plants usually. Here's the indoor peppermint. This is the main one here. It's looking nice and bushy just because it had all these new branches coming out of the old leaf nodes for a while now, and I've really been cutting it back every time. So this is the top of this. It was the first thing I cut off. It's quite lengthy now. It's ready, actually. It can be snipped if I wanted to, probably right here. This is from one of the lower ones here. It's a couple weeks in there now, so it's started to come up nice. It's firmly supplanted itself. These are from about a week ago now, so you can see they took nice now. They're standing up. They're ready to go. They're going to be growing soon. But I hope those grow nicely, like more like this one. I want to get them both like this. And in fact, this one at the very top of this guy, and maybe that one too, are both almost ready. If I wanted to, I could also just snip them and use them instead of planting them. But we'll see what I do. Let's go down to this basil real quick. I don't know. This is hilarious how this thing's growing right now. Hopefully not hurting it too bad. This one's more normal. That's the Italian, I believe. It's starting to get a little harder to tell. Actually, I think I may have flipped them and see if either of these are still legible. Not that one. That's the one problem with using wet erase on these. This is what dry erase would maybe be good for. Okay. I would say this looks like it says Italian, that says Genovese. That doesn't mean that I kept them on the same sides, but although actually this one looks like the Italian largely now that I look at those. So I would say this is the Italian that has the goofy crooked head. But they're both, they both seem like they're growing pretty well. And then this is the Genovese, and I wanted to point out this one had 3 growing previously when I first transplanted. The very smallest one came out quick, and then a couple weeks ago I cut the other one, put it in water. It ended up rooting, and now it's this thing here growing nicely. It didn't have these leaves at all when I did it, so yeah, it's already starting to grow back nice. Back down here we see that cilantro that got transplanted last week or so out of the hydroponics. Not cilantro, that's parsley, excuse me. But it's looking nicely. Nice. Parsley looking nicely. Again, our straggly basil, I believe I might take that back at this point a week later. That I thought was Genovese, and this I thought was the Italian. Still kind of hard to tell, they're very small. You can also see this dill. This one was actually straight up 2 days ago, standing mighty and tall. It was the newest. This one's now the newest. The one now standing mighty and tall. I'm wondering if I should start harvesting one of these every time I get 4 or 5. It's starting to kind of sag a lot, and I don't know if I want that to be happening. You can see it's really utilizing that spot there. Actually, I wonder if these two almost seem like they're one and the same. So I wonder if I can try to promote that growth by getting rid of these 2 furthest right here. I think they're also the oldest. I believe this is the first one here. And actually I think this one's the second. This one was third, but I could be wrong. Over here are those other failed hydroponics. I got rid of the catnip because it was super failing. These other 2, I think one of them's oregano, one of them is something else, aren't doing so great. Could be, I don't know. This one's rosemary, and it's probably the only one I'll end up keeping. These were those 2 weeds. I don't know what they are. Again, if anyone can give me any clues, any hints, could have been something that was just growing previously in the dirt I was using. Well, obviously that's what it is. And finally on this shelf, got our other straggly parsley. This was transplanted from the pot, the small pot that I was growing non-hydroponically, normal way. Close up of that tarragon. It's been thinning itself out. You can probably count them. There's probably only like 3, maybe 4 that are worth keeping. I'll probably thin that out before the next video, and hope that those couple that actually have true leaves on them, as you can see, hopefully they'll be able to grow a little better. These aloes here, not doing a whole lot, but you can see they're alive still. And as we saw very last week, they had some new growth on them, so that's good. Here's our very old peppers that are still alive. Actually, this one is looking pretty nice. Has quite a few leaves on it now. I mean, relative to what they looked like last time, and certainly the week before that too. These are both cayenne here. This one's struggling much more than the other, but hey, you never know. And this is a serrano here. I'm really hoping this one pans out because I have 3 big cayenne that are fruiting right now. I have no serrano other than some that are coming up now. So if I could make this, and also serrano are like, I guess, small jalapenos, but a little spicier. And so if I was going to make this into like a mini kind of bonsai chili, it would probably work out because they have smaller fruits. So I'm really pulling for this guy here. And there's the wild strawberries, cleaned up a little bit since last time. Kept some of the nodes, you can see that one in there, one in the middle, obviously. A couple other ones on the sides, one up there. But clearly there's only 2, probably only gonna be 2 that really want to pan out here. So they're looking good. They haven't really grown a whole lot, to be honest, since last week. That one has a little bit more new growth in there, but that's really it. Not a whole lot there. Raspberry tray, which basically failed at this point. You can see if these are raspberries. There's maybe 2 left, maybe 3 if I can get some of these that kind of crumbled over to come back. There's that old palm that's still alive. If you're wondering what that towel is, I was just trying to insulate from that a little bit. We had quite a cold spell, and of course this is where my seed starting is. And just before we go to the seed starting, let's swing over this way. Here's the weeds starting tray. Mostly just clover again, because that's what grows apparently most prominently in my yard. Not really worried about it. This is actually going to be transplanted very soon, because in a few days I'm probably going to plant it full of lettuce. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll probably transplant, like, not worrying too much about it, all the clover into like a pot, plastic one maybe, that I can easily get it back out of and just throw it into the yard somewhere so it can spread whenever I put more clover seed down. And then these other guys I'll probably put into small pots to see what they end up doing. Those 2, the 2 that are different. And this guy, I don't know what that is either. We looked at him last time too. Anywho, almost done with the door, I believe. Yeah, getting to the good stuff. Here's the rest of that dill. It was getting a little scorched between weeks here, so I moved it away from the light. Picked back up. It's looking pretty good. All these are looking good, even a little further away here. See all my empty yogurts for more seed starting. Cilantro, which looking the same it's always looked. You could probably use cleaned out a little bit. I mean, there's 5 in there, all trying to compete together. Parsley's 2, still 5 of those. This is the one I transplanted some out of already. But again, you can, now being next to but not directly next to this light, they're all really springy. And this is another one that I was worried about here. It's That's my lemon balm. Kind of looked like it was burning a bit, so I moved it out to the corner here. It was back in the back where these thyme all are now. And also, I almost think I almost killed my thyme. No, not this one. I believe that's the one that maybe was okay, or the one that was in the plastic cup. It's not looking great, but it's alive. This one was definitely dying, but I think I might have saved it. We'll see. It's looking a little better. I think it might have died. I think it might be done. And then of course, finally, as long as I don't hurt myself, this one, and I think that one was probably the one that survived without getting any damage to it. You can see it's looking. Singular basil. Still not positive what it is. It's growing real slow. Here's the hydroponics. I don't have my paper over here because I guess I didn't need it. This is a cilantro that has not started yet. I don't know if cilantro is the way to go, hydroponics is the way to go for it. Here's a Hungarian hot wax. It hasn't quite sprouted yet, but in my experience, they've taken a little longer than other hot peppers, so might be waiting. And you can see those two in the back, poblano, little poblano, and bigger poblano, both doing well. They'll probably be in there for another week or so, definitely another week. Here's marjoram. Nice piece of marjoram. I guess they grow up like that, not bushier. But you can see it's gonna start its bushiness all over here. New leaf nodes there, new leaf nodes there. Even starting on these top ones here, it's wow, even starting up there. How about that? So it's probably gonna be a nice compact thing. And when I look down here, there's really not a whole lot of roots happening, which is why I've kept it in there this long. As long as the roots aren't getting too long, I'm gonna keep it in there. And same goes actually for this Anaheim chili. I think I wanna leave it maybe one more week, maybe not a whole week. The roots are getting quite long in here. If you know how peppers grow, you probably know what they probably look like in there. I mean, they just run whatever. But I don't know. I don't want them to get as big as the first peppers I did, but I don't want to transplant him when he's too tiny and then have something happen. So I'm letting him go for now. Maybe one more set of leaves up there. Nice set. I mean, they've started. Let those get bigger and we'll see what happens. But it has some time still, especially because I haven't planted all those other spots. Gives it a lot of room to grow. Move to the seed starting. Right here are the habaneros that go inside the peanut containers, cashew containers. 2 habaneros that have not sprouted. So I don't know, they may have failed. Maybe they're not getting quite enough light. They don't get as much as some of the other peppers do. Back up here, there's this, got our tomato. 1 tomato we're growing. We started it a couple days before the last video. Look at that, our first tomato. I'm thinking about maybe trying to get an indoor tomato started, maybe in a pot this size, whatever it needs for a singular one. And I'd like to give it to my grandmother as a gift, hopefully. She's a big tomato fan, she's a big gardener. It'd be a lot easier for her. She'd always have tomatoes. I wouldn't mind getting it ready for her, and then she can take care of it as it goes. Here we have 3 other hot peppers I started. They're not random. They're actually just the ones the different ones that weren't in packs I already had. Just planted 1 of each of them, and I'll probably plant 1 more of each. Waiting a little bit. This is just 6 days ago. This is a Bailey Pekin, I think is how it's probably pronounced. Nothing yet there. This one in the front is an Aleppo. Also nothing there. These are all planted the same day. And then this one is a black Hungarian. Oddly enough, it is started when the older yellow Hungarian that's inside the hydroponics has not sprouted. So yeah, those are going pretty well, at least the one. And now, before we move on to all that's going on down there, let's just check in. Baby Yoda, Grogu. Chia is slowly fading. I missed one day of my daily picture taking, unfortunately, also for the experiments, but I think we're going to be able to deduce what happened between days. It won't be extremely important anyway, what had happened. This here we're looking at is lavender, and it is Vera in the back, Munstead in the middle, and Spike in the front, and those are just 2 Spike that have come up so far. And these are, again, 3-7, so over a week at this point for this. Well, for that lavender, and the spinach here, 3-7 as well. Spinach hasn't come up yet. I'm not sure how long to expect for that. Rosemary planted a day before that, as all the others were on 3-6. Have 3 of those. And yeah, there's 2 missing because I ran out of rosemary seeds. I forgot that I only had, 10 left. Or I forgot I was low and just happened to be 10 left. The other ones I planted at the same time, down here. And they're, of course, down here because they sprouted. At least enough of them that I figured they'd be better off in the light. Here's the marjoram. It came up first. Some of that dog hair off the top. Looking pretty good. It's not growing very fast. I'm kind of worried about how leggy everything's getting. Like somehow this bright light that they're right next to isn't enough. I don't know. There's that. Then we got, this one has just come up recently, the parsley. It's looking good. So that parsley that failed in the hydroponics, not a huge problem as long as I can get these guys going, I guess. We have that stringy parsley too that, I want something that's kind of nice growing. Doesn't look so stringy. Some of these I might even be able to give away if they go well. That's kind of the plan. I'm going to be using 12 plus of each of these herbs, they're mostly going to be to give away. And again, I already have most of these growing already. Let's see which way. I'm trying to keep turning them so they don't bend too far one direction. Here's the lettuce, planted the same day, 3-7, as that tomato. It came up in 2 days, as you may have seen in the previous video. Finally growing its first true leaf, and it's been basically right here under the light too the whole time. I'm surprised it hasn't grown more. It does, should also have some nutrients down probably about here, so I wouldn't, maybe about there. Be getting there soon. Yeah, I'll leave that off before I kill it trying to put it on one-handed. Here is our, this one first. These have been around for a bit here. Let's see if I can read. Still this 22nd February. So that's 3 jalapenos, 4 serrano there, and then 1 finally yellow Hungarian, but it's a hot wax, it's not a banana pepper. Probably no more that are going to come up unless maybe. Yeah, probably not. And those are what, 22nd? Yeah, well, they're several weeks old at this point. Some of them might have their true leaves just barely starting, like this serrano there. But they're, they're growing kind of slow. Maybe I'm expecting too much out of them. I don't know. Who knows? You guys probably do. Go ahead and tell me in the comments if you know. Before we get into the other experiment, here's our, not quite an experiment, but it is, in the sense that these are going to be, if they work out, my bonsai chilies, because they are 2 of the small pepper varieties I have. Here's a fish growing, and here is a ring of fire. Those are the same as what's in the back. These are planted the 2nd, these are planted the 9th, and then I'll be planting 2 more, one of each today. Let's check this real fast. Yeah. I don't know about you guys. I don't see anything in that ring of fire. First ring of fire from the 2nd ring of fire. That is a tiny cayenne. So, I don't know. Some of the cayennes have started already, so I'm not sure. Could have probably come up by now. But at least we got the fish pepper started. There's one. And like I said, we do also have those other old peppers if they end up working out at all. They're already bonsai size. And here's we planted these with all those herbs and things. These are the bell peppers, California Wonder Bell. I'm not a big fan of sweet peppers. I'm getting a little more of a taste for at least the green ones, but these are mostly for other people. There's only 12 of them. But bell pepper is not quite as productive fruit-wise as other ones are, so 12 isn't really going to yield you all that much. Is that discarded seed, I guess, there? Seed case? All over here. What is that? 8 to 12, probably. Not terrible. Not terrible. Could get lucky. A couple more come up. Onions. Pretty good turnout with them. 2 planted in each. And yeah, they're going crazy. I'm not sure how long I'm supposed to let them go for. Should probably look into that. Planted them when this app I'm using said to. Which I'm assuming meant you can plant them indoors now and then they'll be ready to go at whenever their outdoor temperature's right. They already look like they're getting close to ready to go. Here's celery planted earlier than that. It's another one I'm kind of worried about the legginess. I don't know how long they're supposed to get. They do seem pretty sturdy though, even though none of them yet are growing any true leaves, it doesn't look like. But again, they were planted earlier, which means they probably grow slower, so I'm not too concerned about them. I'll be kind of careful here, because I just realized this very, very leggy sage has grown just out of the cup, or of the hole here. Alright. I think I'm going to let that off for a moment, or for a bit. And I think I will also put them over where those California Wonders were, give them better light. I'm moving things around a lot here, just gotta do what you gotta do, right? Put those California Wonders over where that was. And then lastly, before we move to the grand finale, here's that pepper experiment. Here is from 2nd. I don't know. Oh, it's on the. That's right. There. Yeah, that's right. March 2nd. And you can see the top is jalapenos. They were certainly the first ones to come up. We finally have one of the Serenaseed. No, sustainable sprout. Serenaseed was the first to come up. In fact, they're looking really good. Actually, they're looking better than those ones I planted a week or so earlier than them. That's in that container. Probably because I use seed starting mix with these, but that means they're gonna actually need fertilizer. Those other ones already have some. But it's nice to see sustainable sprout getting a jalapeno up now. Basically, one of everything growing except a Nature's Edge cayenne pepper. 1 habanero each, it looks like 2. Well, 2 from Nature's Edge, which is funny that there's 2 from them growing in here very quickly too, because that's what these 2 looking like failed habaneros are. Interestingly, I'll have to do some spreadsheet work, and that'll be available if anyone is actually concerned about what's happening with the experiment more close up. if we know when everything sprouted, how long, how many for each of the brands. But yeah, it's going pretty well so far. That was the March 2nd container, and here next to it is the one from last week. Haven't planted the one for today yet. And last I looked this morning, didn't have any yet. Surprisingly, I think we had some come up in a week. The last one. I'm not seeing anything. Giving it one more peek myself with my real eyes. Nope, nothing. It's alright. Plenty of time to grow still. So there's that. And finally is the big peppers. 2 cut back cayennes doing pretty decent. This one branch is growing real nice. I wonder why. The last one I would expect, unless that part gets a little more light maybe. But I have light right here. It's almost directly underneath it. But yeah, it's pushing up nice. Actually has some flowers in there too. Those only popped off, but they're still a little too small. This one I've been plucking flowers off a lot, but you can see it's also bounced back nicely. Hope this side kind of grows out too to even it out. And I think finally this big cayenne, I think this branch might even need tied back. This whole thing, tie this whole thing back, could even tie them together maybe. Here's the oldest cayenne there. I think this one may have caught up. Looking pretty nice. This is the only other one that has any real growth. There are a few others. Oh, here's one. It's pretty good too. First one we have on a different branch. Well, the other is deciding to pollinate on this extremely long one. And I don't know where it's growing to. It's kind of just, it's going away from the window. It's going away from this light. It might be going toward this light right here, which means that these must be pretty powerful if that's the case. Now a little bit of flower drop on this one. Really only dealt with that with the big cayenne pepper. Didn't have the jalapeno do that. They're starting to flower nicely. Maybe a half dozen each opened up. And also, they both have a jalapeno started over on this side. You can see that one there at least. This is the other one. Not quite as big. And then finally the beast. It's actually that's the cayenne. It's kind of impinging on the jalapenos territory here. Here's the largest. I think this thing is catching up to the biggest of the cayennes now. Got a nice. I may have just knocked off another flower, but that's okay. Jalapeno has about at least a dozen, I would say, jalapenos growing right now. There's 2 more big ones in the back. A bunch of small ones. It's I can't remember how big it is. Let's check. Hopefully without hurting it. 23 inches. Getting close to 2 feet. Yeah, all right. Well, that is the Garden Update episode 2 the week of March 16th. And I will be back next Thursday.